Day 109 of 365 days of meditation. No success with the morning practice. It was an evening practice again today. But it was an interesting one. It was the first time in quite a while I felt a little bit dysregulated. The practice was a little bit, well, quite a bit sort of squirmy, mentally and physically challenging. And again, I think it's just feeling dysregulated, probably because now that I think about it, it was a holiday weekend and just had sort of a busy weekend, and it's been, I think, a good maybe 3-4 days since I've exercised. So I think that's part of it, and then also had a couple nights where I had late nights, going to bed late, and yeah, I think both of those things combined just sort of really sort of tax my nervous system, tax my brain, tax my body, and they make it so everything just feels a little bit more harder. I feel a bit on edge, and I was really noticing that in the meditation today. So yeah, that was sort of an interesting, I guess, component of the meditation. Outside of the practice, one of the things I haven't mentioned, but I'm sort of noticing lately, is that my habits around my eating habits have improved. I've actually lost a bit of weight, and it's, I don't know why, it just seems easier. My cravings seem to be for better food, and my willpower around not eating, food that's less healthy, so to speak, seems to have increased. So sort of another positive side effect, it seems, of meditating, although I have noticed that sort of willpower in general tends to go up, and I touched on that in a previous video. I was actually listening to Andrew Huberman being interviewed by Lex Friedman, and he was talking about the idea of when we push ourselves to do challenging things, and sort of endure and persevere when, we would otherwise want to quit. Like, for instance, meditating 365 days in a row, there are days when I don't want to, but by doing it anyway, and sort of persevering, we're training circuitry in our brain that is sort of generalized for that function. It is generalized for the ability to sort of impose your will, so to speak, and allow yourself to push through difficult things. So maybe it's just in exercising into meditation, that's what makes it easier in day-to-day life. Yeah, I think that's all I want to touch on. At least that's all I can remember that I want to touch on. So I'm going to leave it at that for today. In closing, as usual, if you are struggling at all with your mental health, the reason I am doing this journey is to see how it impacts my mental health, and so far so good. But if you're struggling with your mental health, ruminating, worrying, catastrophizing, if you're feeling anxious, depressed, if you're just unable to cope with your mental state, your emotional state, if it just feels like you're sort of drowning, or that it's a struggle to just exist, I know what that's like. It's not a good place to be in, and if you're there, I would encourage you to talk to somebody. From my own experience, it was the first step towards getting better. It was a long journey for sure. It's still on the journey. I don't think it's necessarily ever ends or has a final destination. Quality of life can always improve. At least I believe that. So it started in a place of just not wanting to feel crappy, and now it's in a sort of on this continuum where I no longer feel crappy, and now I want to feel better, and I imagine as I feel better, I'll want to feel better even yet. So there's some positive momentum behind it, but if you are kind of in the lowest of lows, I would definitely encourage you to reach out, talk to somebody. From my own experience, there's nothing worse than feeling alone and isolated while struggling with mental health. with my mental health. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening, morning, afternoon.